Welcome back. Happy New Year. It's the first Sloan Cold Facts of 2023. As y'all see right here, man, you know what time it is. We had a big win, the Texas Christian University, which beat Michigan in the college football playoff semifinal. By the time this airs, we will be national champions. It's going to air next week. So we got a big game on Monday versus Georgia, national championship game. First time since 1938. 83 years. We're excited. Fort Worth, home for our country. In the building today, we're kicking off the new podcast season, a legendary episode. We got some guys who went undefeated during their high school season. And not undefeated like district undefeated. We mean undefeated the whole season. A record 39-0, ranked number 2 in the country. And so just let's back up. It's just we're talking 2004, not current number 2 in the country where everybody jumping up. You got the charter schools and private schools. This is back 2004 when you had to be a real team to be ranked in the top 10, top 25 in the country. They got up to number 2. A local Houston high school, a HISD school. They had a McDonald's All-American on their squad, one of the top 25 players in the country, Juwan McClellan. They had another Division I dude, Larry Posey. And on top of that, wait, first let me back up. I'm not giving them enough credit. Let me back up first. I gotta do it. We give people flowers on Sloan Cold Facts. Let's back up. The 2004 Milby High School boys basketball team, the 5'8", at that time the highest classification, state champions, a record of 39-0. Won the JC tournament. They beat nationally ranked teams. It really could have been number 1 in the country. We are the number 1 public school in the country that year. The number 1 public school in America in 2004. How many guys on your team play college basketball?
Everybody.
7, 8.
7, 8 guys played at the next level. And actually they did it with a first-year coach who replaced the legend. And we're going to get Coach Honey on the phone here in a few minutes. Here on Sloan Cold Facts again, man, we want to give people their flowers. This show is about big upping the culture, the basketball culture, not only in Houston, Texas, but across the country. And these guys sit in the room with me right now. I'm going to let them introduce themselves, but they are a vital, integral part of our fabric of this basketball thing we call in Houston, Texas. So we're going to start with my guy, Larry Posey. Y'all introduce yourselves.
I'm Larry Posey from the north side of Houston. Number 34 back in 04.
Juwan McClellan, straight out of 3rd Ward. Played at the University of Arizona. And that's about it.
No, you don't.
Yeah. Tavon Bailey. Say yeah, from the southwest side, since everybody going up their hood.
Man, it's Tremaine Jordan. I'm from South Park, TSU grad.
And Chris Jordan, no relation to Tremaine Jordan. The glue to our team in 2004. But yeah, that's me.
Fellas, man, first and foremost, I appreciate y'all joining Sloan Cold Facts. Again, man, it's not very often that I get to have a group of guys who did what you guys did. Earlier, about a month ago, we had that Yates team who won the national championship, and they also went undefeated. But you guys kind of preceded them, right? Again, we talking about at a time in Houston in 2004 when Houston is bubbling, it's going crazy, actually. TJ Ford and that Willow Ridge crew, they had Mickey D's, and the 03 class, if you include Kendrick Perkins and Indy Ebby, is on fire. And then here comes 04. All right, so it's like you guys kind of come right on time in the perfect storm. Talk about that, like when you guys were freshmen, sophomores, even juniors, seeing the city of Houston kind of explode on a national scene, and then you guys go into your senior year and then boom, like now you guys are right in the middle of it too.
For me, I think we all have different stories personally. when I first met these guys, we got to take it all the way back to Milby used to do a camp where, you know, it was like $25. Coach Honey would do a camp for like $25. Honestly, the camp was just for people just to drop their kids off, you know, all day.
In the summers?
In the summertime.
Okay.
You could just drop your kids off and parents could go do what they needed to do and come back and pick them up. And you couldn't find a camp, you know, in Houston for less than $25 where you could just drop your kid off. I think we got lunch. Yeah, we got lunch and all that. Tremaine, I knew him probably at about maybe 8 years old, 9 years old at the Boys and Girls Club. Tavon, I met when I first came to the camp. What were we in the 5th grade, 6th grade, 7th grade? Yeah, 7th grade. And then I saw him at Milby. I've been knowing him from around the way.
YMCA.
We get to YMCA days in 3rd Ward. We get to Milby, first day of school. I'm like, what you doing here? We see each other in the cafeteria, real talk.
Yeah.
Big Posey went to Shotwell. Obviously, you know that by you. You know what I'm saying? Ike was mad when they ain't get him and stuff like that because him and Mario Kersey went to the same school.
Right.
And we literally we had a Pasadena tournament. He wasn't in the fold yet because we didn't even know he was coming yet. So Coach Honey, who will be on earlier to explain, we used to do a fall league.
And is this y'all freshman year?
This is coming into freshman year. So
Oh, okay.
we just graduated 8th grade.
Okay.
I hadn't even, when I played with them, I hadn't even made my decision where I was going to school at yet.
Okay.
And so we played in Pasadena. Yeah, we played in Pasadena. And Kevin Quinney, who's not here, John Williams, who's not here, Leon Rose, who's not here, we all played in the league. And one game, we never practiced. We never did anything. I think we might have won by 50, 60. My old man coached us. And, I mean, we just, like, clicked from day one. It's kind of hard to really explain. You know this because you on teams that click like that. Matter of fact, you are close with somebody we went to school with in Skeezy and Jason McCoy. You know what I'm saying? We were fortunate enough, like, when we came in, when you say we superseded Yates, to me, we had something to look up to with Willow Ridge, right? With TJ, D. Gibb, Kenny Taylor, Calvin Watts. You know, the list goes on. I don't think if they were around. And then we had our own at Milby.
I was going to say, on the Milby team.
With Alton Ford, Louis Truscott, Roy Smallwood, Myron Allen.
I was going to interrupt you. So I'm a 2001 high school graduate. These guys are 2004. So they were freshmen my senior year. Prior to what they did, like Jawan was saying, we're talking about 96, 97, my 8th grade, 9th grade year. They had, I mean, literally Louis Truscott, Alton Ford, Roy Smallwood, Myron, and Montreal Allen. These are dudes I saw when I was young, like, and they kind of introduced me to Milby basketball. Obviously, let me back up even 2 decades further. My parents are both from Houston, Texas, so they told me about a guy named Rob Williams. Yeah. And they told me about the stories and how legendary he was. So the Milby High School was already in my brain as a kid. And then as I'm growing up, now I'm a freshman, 8th grade, 10th grade. Now I run into this Milby team. And when you walk in the gym, you see 6'7", 6'8", 6'8" on a one high school team and then a 6'10". And so we're like, yo, like, what's going on? And then Alton Ford, rest his soul, just me being engrossed in basketball, him being a year older than me, he goes off to ABCD camp in New Jersey and leaves as #1 player in the country in his class, in class of 2000. So it's like Jawan was saying, these guys are before them, so like they have this legacy, right? And like they have this thing to where they can go in their high school gym and look at the banners and know the guys who played in front of them. So it's like they had something to strive and achieve and look forward to as far as, hey, yo, we see what was before us, we got to build on this. And speaking on that, man, before it gets too late, I do want to call Coach Honey. We're going to have Jawan call him because if you talk about Milby basketball, you got to talk about Boyce Honey, legendary Hall of Fame coach, coached so many guys, went on to play at the next level, pros. And it's funny, man, before we started, Jawan was on the phone. We call him now. Can you hear Jay?
I can't hear.
Put the headphone on so you can hear. You hear Jay?
Hello.
Hey, Coach.
Hey, Juwan. How you doing?
Can y'all hear?
Yeah, we can hear.
Hey, Coach.
I'm doing good.
Hey, what's going on? Hey, Coach.
Watching basketball. Watching the Cougars.
We here with Marcus Sloan that played at Eisenhower. I know you remember him. He wants to ask you a couple of questions, but we're doing a podcast right now. We live, and he got some stuff he want to ask you that can't none of us answer. We got into talking about Rob, obviously, and of course you coached him, and you coached all the great ones that he's mentioned before us.
Coach Honey, how you doing?
I'm doing great.
It's first and foremost, it's an honor to have you on the podcast. Real quick, man, I think you know this, Coach. People, when they mention the greatest basketball players ever to come out of the city of Houston, Rob Williams, if he's not one, he may be two on that list. Can you talk about what it was like to coach him in high school and how much of a special talent he was?
He was a special talent. I'll just say this: when my son was at U of H, he was very close to Coach Lewis, which I was too. And one day, a reporter asked Coach Lewis, "Was Akeem or Clyde the best player he ever coached?" And Coach Lewis looked at him like he was crazy and said, "Neither one. Rob Williams was the best player I ever coached."
That's big. That's big time, Coach. Coach, my freshman and sophomore year, even in 8th grade, you guys had some really talented, guys I had to play against inside, and Roy Smallwood and Louis Truscott and Alton Ford. Can I talk about coaching those big guys and how special that group was?
That was a really good group. That one year when we had all three of those, I just didn't think anyone could beat us. But when we went to Victoria, Smallwood tore his ACL,
right.
and he didn't play. He didn't play the rest of the year. And talent-wise, that was as good a team as you could have ever happened. But as much as I love Louis Truscott, some people were in his head. Mm-hmm. And I had a hard time dealing with him, and that team did not perform to its capabilities. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times, people look at Alton, and bless his heart, I loved Alton, but he was a man-child, and even though physically he was dominating, he still was like a sophomore that year.
Correct.
And but it was still a very good team. And of course, we had Myron, and
right.
he was a head case. I love Myron now.
Yeah.
I'm just. You want me to be honest?
I do.
Yeah. Well, there was a lot of things going on in young people's heads at that time, and you know that yourself.
Yeah,
By the time Juwan got there, everybody had settled down, and talent-wise, that group you just named was more talented than Juwan's group that was 39-0. But
right.
mentally and attitude-wise, Juwan and that group just was dominating. I mean, there's no comparison. If that group you just named had Juwan and Posey and Tremaine attitude and brains, we wouldn't have lost any games. I'm just telling you the truth, and that's the way it was.
And Coach, kind of talk, talk about what watching Juwan and win the state championship, watching Coach Duffer, your longtime assistant, win that state championship. What did that mean to you?
It meant everything to it. I drove the tires off of my truck going back to Houston to see those games, and I remember one of them. We played Bryan at Milby. Well, when Juwan and them were juniors, we went to Bryan, and they got a good program and good athletes, and they beat us. But Juwan knows there was some home cooking going on. The referee in that game was a ex-star for A&M, and all the players, he was sitting in the stands eating popcorn with them. Mm-hmm. And they beat us. That's when Juwan was a junior, and And I told and the coach is a good guy and a good coach. And I said, remember, this is a home and home. And he said, I know, Coach, I'll be there. So, of course, Mrs. Honey and I went straight to Milby, and it was a good game, but we spanked them pretty good. Joanne and them spanked them pretty good the next year when they were seniors, and Coach Duffer was coaching them. That meant a lot, but let me just tell you this. My wife contacted Alzheimer's in 2012, and for what I did to leave that team to Coach Duffer, even though I had some regrets, and it would have been great if I could have been down there winning all those games, because that was a great team. But I had no idea that my wife was going to pass away. And those years we had after we retired were the best years in our 60 years of marriage, because we were with our grandkids, we were with our kids, and we went to the game. And sure, I would have liked to have coached them, but it was just God's will. That's the bottom line. And we left them, and Coach Benitez was at U of H about to graduate, and my dream was for Milby to have all of my players coaching them, and that's what they did. They had Coach Duffer, Coach Hines, Coach Hardy, and Coach Benitez. So I mean, it was we had a great time in the stands eating popcorn, watching those guys play, and that was the greatest team Milby ever had. Not the greatest talent, but it was the greatest team. 39-0. You can't argue with that.
Coach, well, we want to thank you for joining the podcast, man. You know, anytime we have a legend again, we want to give you your flowers. One of the greatest high school basketball coaches, not only in Houston, but of all time. Coach, we thank you for joining the podcast.
Appreciate it, Coach.
Well, thank you. Call anytime. I'm always ready to talk basketball.
Thanks, Coach.
All right, Coach.
All right,
Coach.
Bye-bye.
All right.
Fellas, what is that like for you guys to hear that what Coach Honey said, that you guys are the greatest team ever from a storied high school like Milby High School?
We need to make sure all the other Milby teams hear that, because that's one thing that we always argue about, or like a friendly debate when we all get together, because that's one of the things that, you know, we do at Milby. We all, you know, even after graduating, we still check in with one another, hang out with one another, and so we had these conversations about who is the greatest team. So if it came from Honey, it's a fact.
And yeah, we was clicked so tight so early, so I knew it was gonna be special.
For me, again, knowing the history of Milby, knowing the talent, for him to say that you guys are the greatest team ever at Milby is an unbelievable compliment, man. And it just goes to show you, especially times like now, you know, you guys all know, like, kind of what I do in the evaluation space and event space. And, you know, you have these teams and these kids, and you got the parents who, like, they have their agendas, and the kids got their agendas. And you will see a group who have a chance to be special, but they'll fuck it up because this person's not on the same page with that person, or that kid taking too many shots. So for you guys in particular, this is for everybody but Juwan. I asked Juwan. Having a dude like Juwan McClellan on your team, who was one of the best players in the country, how were you guys able to kind of stay together and know that, like, okay, like, he's our leader, he's our guy, and not feel threatened by that, or not get jealous of that, because you see a lot of that nowadays?
I mean, at the end of the day, it made the game easier. I mean, you had somebody that was going off every game. And then, I mean, we was a running gun team, so, you know what I'm saying, Juwan have his 30, 40. You know what I'm saying? I come in with mine, Chris come in with his. Everybody got it because we was running gun or whatever. And it was we never allowed space for that because we was going too fast.
Now, was that like a culture thing? Because, again, it's easy to say, hey, man, listen, we got a guy who's a Mickey D's. We're going to let him ride. He's our guy. But, you know, you may have family members or people in your clique, people at the school saying, like, man, y'all let Juwan take all the shots, or Juwan the guy, you know?
Man, I honestly, the reason why we were successful, honestly, my old man will tell you that wasn't flying. But not even that. our parents were closer than we were.
Oh, good.
So
Okay.
that's what I'm saying. Like our team was really, really tight. Our parents were really, really tight. If we played at Campbell or Delmar, we staying at his house 8, 9 deep. If we playing at Barnett, they coming to my house. You know, God, you know what high school you know what I'm saying? We stand. We never rode a bus. All of us drove. You know what I mean?
And we all knew our role. I mean, like we knew we were a better team if Jawan played good. We knew we were a better team if Posey got, the first bucket thrown to him down in the post. I mean, so there was no egos, even though, now a lot of these kids feel like, that it's a lot of entitlement.
Right.
We didn't feel like anything was, entitled to us. We worked hard every day. We practiced. The practices was crazy every day because it was a legit 5-on-5 first unit versus second unit going hard every day. Yeah, some days the second unit get the first unit, some days the first unit get the second unit. So it was a yeah. I don't know who that was,
but nah,
I only one time in my life. That was
at
only
the end
one
of the
time.
day, when you ask that question, we all held each other accountable. You know what I'm saying? I think our team just fit. Like I knew if I could go get 40, we probably wouldn't have won. Just being honest, our team wasn't made up of that. You know what I'm saying? Because then he wouldn't get his touches. There were games, you know what I'm saying? And honestly, you can say what you want to about me. I think everybody in this room and the other teammates of ours would say he was the leader.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? He was the engine. It'd be sometime I come to him.
Yeah.
We can just keep it 100. Hey man, I need the fucking ball.
Yeah.
Man, get your ass, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Go around there, boom, boom, boom. I mean, that's just real. You know
Right,
what I'm saying?
right.
We had a game. They gonna laugh. We had a game. We playing Clements at Outback
At Outback.
with David Davison. You know what I'm
Okay,
saying?
yep,
David, he's cooking in the first half. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We really haven't had a close game yet, right? In my opinion, maybe
Until
we
that
did,
game.
I don't-
And
but
shit,
we
we
had.
already
I mean,
20-0,
we were
man.
down. You know what I'm saying?
Halftime.
And halftime, we come in the halftime, and coach, I don't know what was wrong with me that day. I think my attitude was on one that day. You know what I'm saying? Just keeping it one up because we never been through adversity, right?
Yeah.
As a team,
Yeah.
so we were all kind of just all over the place. You know what I'm saying? You know what youngsters do? Hey, come on, man! Da 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 da.
Yeah.
We get in the locker room, we sit. Coach Duffer, that's why we respect Coach. You know what I'm saying? Duffer used to check us. You know what I mean? Like we get in the locker room, and he pretty much said, I don't give a damn what school you going to. Well, at the end of the day, it's only two people.
It's
that
only two
signed.
people. He talking to Jawan and Larry.
Yeah.
Posey ain't tripping.
But he looking around. But he looking around the room though.
You
We
know what
like,
I'm saying?
say his name.
But that was a good coach. He knew he couldn't. He didn't out me,
But that
but
was checking you,
he
though.
checked
Yeah.
me without
It was checking you without
coming
checking.
directly
Right.
to me. You know
Yeah,
what I'm
yeah,
saying?
yeah.
I knew. Yeah, I'm out here tripping. You know what I'm saying? And in the second half, I mean, the history was made. We all,
Right.
I mean, that's how we rock. So I mean, they could check me too. It wasn't like, Juwan is gonna do this. We were teammates.
Yeah.
Honestly,
Now
we was
with me,
teammates.
hey, I appreciate them because I remember who was playing Westfield and they played that boxing one on you. Oh, me, Chris, and Kevin had a field day at that 3.
And we had a bunch. we
Yeah,
had a
and
bunch
so-
of games like that.
And so, like, okay, I'm gonna ask y'all, like, for you guys that play with someone like him, like, I know Polly said it made the game easier, and Chris and Tavon said, he appreciate him. What was that like for y'all, knowing like, hey man, we got this guy who we can ride, but if teams key on him, we ready? Is that a thing you guys kind of knew? Hey man, like when teams start keying on Jawan, we got to be ready.
Yeah, well, I mean, majority of the games I was the biggest beneficiary of that. Like, majority of the time, well, all of our games, they would center on one of the most dominant players in high school, Larry Posey, and then our McDonald's All-American. So, and then Tremaine, he could score, but he wasn't really wanting to score. He wanted to get everybody else involved. So I was like, man, when they looking at them on the scouting report, I'm gonna get mine, and I usually got mine because they focus so much on Larry and Jawan. So we all knew that. Of course, we feed through them. We operate our offense through them. But when they crowd them, we got to be ready to score. We got to be ready to shoot. We got to be ready to make a play. And so in my case, I was always ready to shoot.
I feel like we had like 5, 6, 7 guys, whatever, that came out and said, I'm gonna put this game on my back today. Whatever. So it wasn't always, there wasn't always Juwan. Whatever.
Yeah.
Juwan didn't always have to do it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I think that's why our balance came in. Whatever it was, anybody could get it on any given night.
We had 5 averaging double digits, right? Like it was 5 of us averaging 10. Yeah. So
Man, one thing I can say, man, Larry, Juwan wasn't scared to share that ball. Get the double team, they kicking it out.
Yeah.
And they encouraging you. Hey, pull that thing. That was kind of a booster for me because I'm trying to get everybody else involved. I'm passing up my shot. But once I start, getting that confidence from these guys, oh man, it was over for everybody else, man. So
yeah, because I remember we had a game, and we used to have a joke.
Chris Jordan.
We used to have a joke. Chris Jordan. we used to have a joke.
Him got named.
You know what I'm saying? To where I remember I got on him one day. We were partners in practice. You know what I'm saying? We went at each other every day. So it was one day we would always joke with him, hey, if you put that ball on the floor, we not coming back to you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I mean that's how good he could shoot it.
Yeah.
So he
one dribble max.
So he would have games to where people get in his head, like you talked about earlier about outsiders.
Yeah.
Man, you need to put that thing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
I
And
was
he
trying
know
to
who
do
I'm
more.
talking about. I ain't gonna because I ain't gonna name that particular person. But my thing is this: you trying to play to the crowd. We get up, you open, shoot it.
Yeah.
Don't be worried about putting it on the floor and doing. Same thing when you doing your evaluations.
Right.
People, if you a great shooter,
Shoot the ball.
and you his height 6'3", 6'4", whatever, you're going to school.
Correct.
It doesn't matter. You may not go to the school, but every major D1 that you see, you have to be able to spread the floor.
Absolutely.
That's what we used to get on them about shooting the ball.
I'm gonna get it.
Yeah.
So during that year, fellas, at what point did y'all realize collectively that we got something special? Like we might have a chance to really win this thing.
The year we lost to Elsick in the playoffs.
The year before?
The year before. The next day we came to workouts. The next day we found out Coach Duffel got the job. The whole, no disrespect to Honey, the whole mentality changed from day one. The workouts was harder. The first workout we did with Coach.
So wait, hold on, Jay. So y'all lost. Let's say on the when y'all lost in the regional.
We lost on a Tuesday. We had practice
Wednesday. Oh wow.
We had practice Wednesday.
Now,
Duff got the
was that y'all or was that Duff who did it?
That was Duff. He asked what y'all want to do.
Yeah, Duff came in and shifted the mentality 180, man. Like Honey had a system and it was a working system, but Duff came in and had his own system. He had his own toughness. He had his own competitive spirit. And man, we competed every day in practice. Every day.
We
had different lineups. Some some days John started, some days Leon started.
Yeah, you didn't know who was going to
start. Some days I started, some days Kevin started. Tay get minutes over Tremaine. Like it was always just because you started today didn't mean that you could practice shitty next week and have you a starting spot next week.
So he kept it pretty competitive, basically.
Yeah.
It's competitive in the weight room.
In the weight room.
On the track.
I mean,
Hosey
everything.
out running people.
Yeah. I mean, we literally. I mean, that was the toughest. That was the toughest year. I mean, from day one, because I remember we changed our whole. Honey was more controlled, so we don't know what a Myron Allen or Alton or Rob what he really
could have done if he would open it up.
Or me, yeah, like I mean, like I say, he one of the greatest coaches of all time.
Yeah.
No, you can't take that away from him. But, and I'm speaking for me, we were in controlled environments. Like when we be up, they know about 4D. We would spread it out, hold the ball. He got that from Dean Smith. You know what I mean? 4 corners. So everybody know. And we would do that, pass. When we got Coach Duff, Kansas and Oregon was playing. You were in college at the time. Luke Rittenauer, Luke Jackson, Heinrich, those guys. They played in the tournament in the Elite Eight.
They did, yep.
They going back and forth.
Yeah.
Duff will come in the gym. That's what we doing.
Yeah.
We started out, we were pressing, remember, all day in practice. We used that as conditioning, really. We never really pressed in the season, but when we started practicing, he had us pressing, picking up full court. I mean, the 101 drills.
I was about to say, them some of the tough practices ever, man.
I mean, he got a drill to where he, got the 1-on-1 man coming full speed at you, and you got to turn him weak side, Coach Wise do it with his Jace
Yeah.
teams. That's one of the hardest. When you got somebody coming at you full speed,
It's tough, yeah.
it's tough. Yeah, so
And
we had some competitive practices.
So that next day after that loss to Elsa, y'all junior year, you guys realized like we got something special. Now, did y'all know y'all were?
Now this is what we did know. We knew who was leaving and who was coming back. So let's not get it twisted. We knew Lanny, Tack, Michael Ube, Cartier, Martin, Blake Adams. We knew them dudes was gone.
Right, yeah.
So we knew who was coming back. Let's not get it twisted like we coming back and them dudes was coming back.
Right.
No, we knew who was leaving, going out the door, and we knew we had everybody coming back.
The window was open.
But I'm saying, in y'all wildest dreams, did y'all think y'all would go undefeated?
No,
We didn't really talk about
we didn't
that.
ever talk about it.
We took it really one game at a time. I don't never really remember having a conversation with them like, man, we 26-0.
We weren't
we can
in
do it.
the National Academy national side at 1st. Remember, we were on the Texas side.
Yeah.
And Coach Duffer brought us in. Just real talk. I mean, I wish we could say we had the utmost confidence and all that.
Yeah.
He brought us in the middle. He says, "Hey, we've been
Check your boy.
Oh, there's Duffer right there.
Call it. See if you answer. That's
They probably coming right through.
yeah. Let me see. You can answer to Jay.
Coach.
They probably shut it down.
Q, can y'all put
Coach.
that back on the?
Hey, Coach.
Yo,
What's
Oh,
up, Coach?
what's up, man?
Man, we live right now. It's me, Posey, Chris Jordan, Tavon, Tremaine, and we on with Marcus Sloan. Sloan want to ask you some questions about us. So, hey, look, before you answer, you gotta be Coach Duff now, because we done already told him how you are. All right, so don't be on here, being all, you know what I mean?
New Duff.
This is
Don't be
right.
New Duff.
Yeah, don't be New Duff.
Be
Be
old
raw.
folk Duff.
Yeah.
Coach Duffer, Marcus Sloan here. How you doing, Coach? Welcome to
Good, Marcus.
welcome Sloan.
How are you?
Pretty good. Welcome to the Sloan Cold Facts podcast. This show we're talking about the 2004 Milby High School team. You guys going 39-0. Coach, just briefly, your first year as a coach, you get this group. You got a guy, Joel McClellan, the Downs All-American. You got a bruiser inside dominating guy, Larry Posey. Obviously, if you coached them, their previous 3 years. At any time during that year, did you think we have a chance to be one of the better teams in the country?
We're, as coaches and players, we have a confidence. Some people would call it arrogance. I thought we were the best team in the state of Texas. And that, we didn't go beyond the state of Texas. And I knew the work that these guys had put in. And I'll tell you small things about the work. You've got two guys that you would, you put in quotations that are the best two players on your team, that beginning of their junior year, they start working with an old school guy, conditioning, early in the mornings, wearing combat boots and running and lifting, and that's the kind of work ethic that worked into everybody else on the team.
Yeah.
And so, as a coach, we had a difficult preseason starting in the spring before their senior year. The work we did, conditioning and strength, it wasn't easy.
Yeah, they just said
And
that
these
too,
guys-
Coach. It's funny. They just it's literally we were talking about that as you called.
And those guys looked at me and like, what else can we do? We got to do more. And so, it was, it's, as a coach, it was literally a dream. And there's guys that have been in the business 30, 40, 50 years that never get a group of guys that buy in. And I call them kids. They're grown-ass men now, but as incoming freshmen, these guys bought in to say, this is what we want to do. And we want to be the very best team in the United States. And I think literally that's what they did. Now, you look at the rankings, the USA Today rankings, you had Oak Hill 1, Renaissance out of Detroit 2, St. Anthony 3, and then us, which meant we were the number one
public school, right? Yeah,
in the United States.
Yep.
And that's such, after the year finished, I think there was a publication called Basketball Time that interviewed Coach Hurley at St. Anne's and me, because it's public school, private school, and all he could talk about was he had pulled film on 20 of our games because the things we did, he wanted to do with the national kids that he had the next year.
Oh, wow.
He just was like, how did you get these kids to do the things they did? And it's like, it was the easiest. It's what they did. They just wanted to win, and they did everything and anything they could. And the backside of that was the parental support that all of them had. Now, look, we're an inner city school.
Yep.
And every one of those kids had a father that was involved with them. There was one that didn't, but the majority of those guys, they had a father that was involved. And so the parental support was unbelievable. And the parents, and you never hear this today.
Yeah.
The parents were so supportive of what we and my staff did with those kids. They bought in and said, this is what we're doing. And so this is how it just kind of manifests. We're playing in the state championship game, and nobody knows that Jawan's dad filmed every one of our games for me, and that's tape that we use, right? And so before the state championship game, I come on the floor, and somehow, some way, Larry Posey's pops, and then I don't think it was Jawan's dad. I think it was somebody else. But they're on the front row there at the drum. And so I have to go over and speak to them. But that's how those parents were. Those parents were going to do whatever it took for those kids to be successful, which is so different. Today,
trust me, I know.
Parents, yeah, I know you know.
The parents will tear it down quicker than the kids will.
Oh my goodness!
Yeah.
And it was like, listen, I had been a head coach at a small private school for a couple of years, and then I became the assistant at Milby and stuff. I had a little bit of head coaching experience, but never at the level that year took. And it was the perfect storm. I had the perfect group of kids that and again, they bought in the spring. And we're going to back up and say this. The gentleman I replaced, Coach Tony, he laid the foundation for everything. Now, I'm a different cat than he is.
They said that too. They said when you got there, Coach, they said you opened it up. They said you kind of opened the offense up, opened the game up, and kind of gave them freedom to be expressive and play their games. And they said that you guys got up and down a lot more, and it was a different mentality from day one.
One of the things that, again, it was new. One of the things that we were creating was, in coaching skills, and you'll hear, we were creating pace and space. And, and And you look at the game today, it's 4 out, 1 in with a high ball screen.
Yep.
And we did some of that, not a lot, but we spread it out so these guys could create situations to be better. And, you know, when you've got guys like, listen, we're going to start in you know, Juwan and Larry Posey and Chris Jordan, all those guys would say, you know, the things that they did, you know, our team started with a kid that had the ball in his hand that as his career, he averaged 1.1 turnovers a game for a varsity career.
It's tough.
And that was Tremaine Webster Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
And you know, all those guys were just, they accepted the role. I took so much criticism because I didn't start Chris Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't start Chris.
Coach, tell him who you took criticism from.
You know who I took it from.
Coach Honey.
The guy I replaced.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? I took so much criticism because I didn't start him. But my whole thing was we had to do things to create offense when we had the sub.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna tell you what, I don't know how many at that year it was 5A. I don't know how many 5A schools were in the state of Texas. Chris Jordan starts for every one of them, including us. But me and my staff decided that Chris would be so much more valuable to this team to bring him off and let him create what he could create.
Mm-hmm.
Now, and I'll also say this. Off the bench, when I brought Chris and Tavon Bailey off the bench,
Mm-hmm.
there weren't two better defensive players in the state of Texas. And I put those two long kids on anybody with the ball. They were having a bad night.
Mm-hmm.
So it just everything worked. It just did. And everybody bought into their role. You know, this is 2023.
Mm-hmm.
And if you took a poll on 100 high school coaches, one of the things they're going to say is it's so hard for these kids to buy into their role
Mm-hmm.
on this team. There was never, ever on that team an issue of buying into the role. That group of kids, and there was 11 of them, 9 seniors, 2 juniors, their role was, we're going to win state. And that's just what they did. And, you know, Mark, you've coached, you've been around the game so many years. That's such a rarity in our game, the game we love.
It's a unicorn.
It really, really, really is. You know, and whenever our 25-year reunion comes in and we're all in San Antonio when they honor the state championship teams,
Mm-hmm.
the entire group's going to be there.
Yeah.
And I'm going to share this, and Juwan may get embarrassed by this. The next year, after all those guys were in college,
Mm-hmm.
so in June, you know, I'm single. I'm with, you know, I'm hanging out at a pool. I'm having cocktails, and I get a phone call from a doctor
Mm-hmm.
asking me who I am, and so we'll flash forward, and bless his heart, Juwan's dad, George McClellan, had a event and lost his life, and he had a phone number in his pocket,
Mm-hmm.
which was my phone number. And so the doctors from Indiana, from Ben Todd, called me and said, "Do you know George McClellan?" And so George, bless his heart, lost his life on that event. And so myself and my assistant, Sam Hines, went to the hospital. I called a couple of moms. They were of the players on our team. They met us at Ben Taub. Jawan was in Arizona after his freshman year, and I had to call and break the news that his father had passed. So at 2 a.m, the entire team meets at Intercontinental Airport to meet Jawan as he came home for his dad.
That's incredible.
That's how that team was. So we can talk about what I did as a coach. You know, that's how that group, that's a special group of kids that are now grown adults being unbelievably successful. And I would love to take credit, but you got to put the credit on their parents. Those parents raised those kids in an incredible way that it just, you know, I get goosebumps every time I talk about that group of kids.
Coach, man,
that are grown men now.
No, Coach, that was incredible stories, and we really appreciate it, man. All of your insight. Again, thank you for joining the podcast. I appreciate what you have given the game of basketball here in our city and our culture. We also want to give you your flowers too, Coach, and we appreciate you.
All right, Coach.
Hey, guys, thanks for having me.
All right,
Guys, you know I love you guys.
Talk to you later, Coach.
All right, Coach. All right.
All right.
Fellas, just piggybacking off that story. As you guys are older now, almost 20 years since that day, and what Coach Duffer just said, you guys are husbands and fathers and mentors and coaches in the community. And what does that time and how you guys, again, raised from your parents and playing at Milby, being together, how is that kind of transitioned to and kind of molded to who you guys are currently today?
I mean, I think it just demonstrated a level of closeness that I think is important with people you love. We've been around each other for the goods. Obviously, we want to stay together. But like how Coach Duff said, you know, when we had those hard times, even if it was something that was affecting one of us personally, we all took it on collectively. So, you know, at the time, I had never really had heard that story about everybody doing that for Jawan. I was in Alaska at the time his father passed, so I wasn't able to make it to the service. But that just goes to show the level of friends and family we are, man. Like, we never even talked about that. I just heard that story for the first time, but you know, they all did that for our brother because that's how much we cared and loved one another. And like how Coach Duff and everybody's saying, like our parents and our family was really the secret weapon to us being great, man. Like, we literally would all go over to Jawan's house, and hang out. And if we skip school, we'll be at his crib or at my spot or a Posey spot. Like, we literally all hung around each other, basketball related or not basketball related. So, yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, man, it created a forever brotherhood. Whatever, you know what I'm saying? They'll forever be my brothers, blood or not. You know what I'm saying? Till the day I leave this earth.
Yeah, I think we still go by those Honeyisms we learned back in school, man. We pass them on to our kids, and we just make sure that, you know, they're on the right track and they stay good kids, man. Because, man, thank you, Milby Basketball.
Man. I mean, obviously for me being a husband and father, and obviously being a black man who also used basketball and to do different things in my life. When I have a group of guys, or when guys come in, I see how they are as men, as fathers, as husbands. It's different for me, right? Because we all know guys who went the other way, who haven't done shit for their kids, or don't take care of their kids, or not stand up dudes in the community. And so again, man, like I had to salute all y'all, and even going back to the parents. Me knowing Posey's dad since he was in the 7th grade. We talking 30 years now. Me knowing Jawan's dad the same amount of time, and knowing what type of men they were, right, and who the men they raised, right, and then your family. Listen to the coaches talk about you guys' family. Again, it's this culture for me, and I tell people it's a big reason why we do Sloan Cold Facts and why I do what I do here in Houston, because the basketball culture. I want other people, and I want these young kids coming up to hear y'all stories. To be honest, to know like, hey man, like you can all be together, you can all play together, you can all know your role and be successful as a group and as individuals. And then when this shit is done, you can be successful in life. Like the shit you use in basketball, you learn the brotherhood, the family, the teamwork, the work ethic. This shit that'll translate to the next part of your life. Yo, listen, everybody can't make it to the league. Everybody can't play Division I basketball, right? But the shit you learn, the camaraderie and all that, like that carries on to what type of men you become. And again, for you guys, like I want people to know the Larry Posey story. I want people to know the Chris Jordan story. I want people to know Tavon Bailey's story, Tremaine's story, the Jawan story. I when people watch this, when these young guys watch this, I want them to know like, yo, like I could be like these dudes. I didn't go to Milby. I go to Clements. I go to Elkins. I go to Eisenhower. They use basketball to form brotherhoods. They use basketball to change their lives, to change their family's life. And that's the shit that really matters, right? So, again, for this show, for this platform, like, I want to give y'all flowers, seriously, and, like, let people know, like,
appreciate it.
Yo, like, what you guys did in the past 20 years ago and what you're currently doing now, it meant something then and it means something now, right? And I'm gonna shift gears because PJ Kuznar DM'd me. He was like, make sure we tell Jawan, or we talk about how his dad raised me and impacted me. And obviously, George McClellan has a big, has a big kind of brand, big name, and his legacy is so big in our city. Just for the people he touched, the lives he impacted, the kids he coached. It's an event every year, George McClellan Invitational. That's another story, but the reason the event is here, is a good cause. And so, Jay, you could start. Just talk about kind of like what your dad meant to our community.
This, like me and you go all the way back. So when Duff was talking about my dad, I'm looking at you because I know what happened to this kid's grandfather, your pops. You know what I'm saying? How he was in the community.
I didn't make eye contact with you. I didn't want to start crying for sure.
Exactly. So that's why I was looking at you. I wanted to see what you know what I mean, how that was going to make you feel. But going back to PJ, when I originally said I didn't know where I was going to go to school, they all know. Literally, I thought I was going to Yates since birth, just honestly, right? And me and PJ grew up together. I mean, that's pretty much, blood can't really make us any closer.
Yeah.
His dad was like my dad, Mr. Prince. My dad was like his dad. I mean, they were just two pillars of the community. And then we grew up with two coaches. I don't think I'd be sitting here today. A guy named Steve Gaines, who Tremaine knows, that ended up moving from the YMCA that we all grew up at, the Emmanuel Adagons, the Antonio Nuttalls, the Leonard Ray Mosleys, the Eddie Barlows. This was just a neighborhood for us.
Yeah.
Me and PJ never even got in the game. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Just being real. So when I came up, and my dad always played me up, PJ's dad always played up with me. So the game was, I ain't gonna never disrespect and say the game was ever easy, because it never was easy, but it was easier because of the way my dad raised me. But back on the reason why my teammates were there with me, we were close. We real close. But to me, he was everybody's dad. You know what I'm saying? He didn't just treat me I mean, me, unless I'm missing something, he didn't treat me any different than them. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's the way everybody feel. I mean, he coached us. It's not, you know how to see it, Sloan. Me and you coach together. It's hard to coach. Now that I coached, and I'm coaching my daughter right now in track, it's hard when you have somebody in your household that is that person to not, and you know that they're that person, but still treat everybody
the same.
Equal. You know what I'm saying? And he coached us. I don't know if we could have had another coach in the summertime.
Yeah, he was
to handle all the egos.
Hey, I'm over here laughing. I remember.
Which one?
Because we used to smack dudes in the summer and fall leagues too. So I remember when you did the little showboat layup and he called a timeout. He called a timeout to pull a table her ass out.
It's like, it was literally like 2 minutes
left. We had
just
in the scored game. Though. We scored. He called a time. Get his ass out.
I mean, that was him. You know what I'm saying? That's how he was. He had a lot of respect.
Yeah.
You know, like I said, picking back, I mean, I just remember growing up in Third Ward. Like I said, it was tough. You know what I mean? It was real tough. But that's what made me, honestly, that's what made all of us. You know, we all, none of us was supposed to go to Milby. That's number one. Nobody's on the Milby. I didn't know what Milby was when I went to the camp. I just saw the banners on the wall. And I was just like, good God, there's a lot of banners. All I knew was Yates, Willery. You know, I knew the school, but I never knew what Milby was. I never knew anything about it. So it's crazy that all of us are here and none of us was on. But I mean, nobody was just going to Milby. Let's keep it 100.
Posey played at my middle school with my brother. And then they said he was going to Milby. And I was like, I wonder why. I mean, I knew why he was going to Milby. I mean, the reason because of the basketball tradition. But I was like, I wonder how Posey got to Milby.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that. So my short story about Milby is the church, the pastor of the church that I was going to at the time was a teacher at the school, and he was telling me about the magnet program, whatever. So I was going for education.
Okay.
And I didn't know anything about the basketball. I didn't know anything about the history of the basketball. Nothing about the summer camps. Nothing about none of that. I went there. You know what I'm saying? I to play basketball, of course, because you know what I'm saying. That's what I was coming from. But I knew nothing about the history and all of that of Milby.
Oh wow.
Yeah, we were happy when we saw it because when I first got there, I'm looking around. I'm like, bro, I didn't sign up to play center. You know what I'm saying? And then we see him and Leon. Then we saw Leon walk in, who's 6'5". I mean, that's what I'm saying. John. You know, he was on the Worthing.
I was on the
Sterling, Westbury. You know, speaking of him, you know, with Tavon could have went to Westbury. Westbury had a hell of a team.
They did.
You know what I mean? With George Walker and Mike Nichols and all those dudes. You know, they had a bunch of LJ. They had a bunch of dudes. Matter of fact, they beat us as a freshman. They went undefeated.
Oh wow.
You know, and Posey was on JV, and then I was up. Right. So we never played together until everybody. So really, we had to play them dudes 3 times our senior year. We remember when they beat us as freshmen. You know what I'm saying? So we remembered that. That was really our rival. But the crazy part is, this was our dudes. Like when we.
Westbury's our rival.
We go skip over there at Westbury. You know what I'm saying? Walk in the hallways with them. This is real talk. You get that team on, they'll tell you. Those were our partners. Mike from Third Ward went to Ryan. Yates could have had a lot of people. Lawrence Roberts.
Was Westbury our rival or Pearland? Pearland thought they was our rival.
But we had
Pearland thought they gonna see this. I know they gonna.
But like I said, man's doing very well.
He is. Yes, he is.
But there were a lot of guys that, like I said, we had that was good times. You know what I mean? But like I heard you say, anybody can be us individually.
Right.
I don't think a lot of these kids can be us or the Yates 2010 or Willery 2001 collectively. Because when you look at those teams, they all still tight.
Yes,
they roll together. So that explains to you. And then you got a strong guy at the helm like Duffer, Courtney, Wise. That is no nonsense.
Nah, man, it's a big difference now. Like you said, just because of the culture. Back then, let me say this now. If Chris Jordan was a shooter and he got buckets he can really shoot, his parents would get on social media and do some bullshit. Get in his head. Then the kid, now he affected. So now he coming looking at y'all like, man, he didn't even start me, man. That is tripping.
And he probably gonna transfer.
And he out of there.
He out.
Yeah.
That's what's going on in college.
Absolutely.
I mean, we can have a whole nother conversation. It doesn't teach them. This is me. So I don't want nobody tweeting Jawan Trip. This is my opinion. To me, when I went to Arizona, I knew I was not starting when I signed. You get what I'm saying?
Yep.
My old man used to tell Coach Olsen, you can red shirt him. Now you talking about a McDonald's All-American that was willing to sit because I went in with Salim Stoudemire, Hassan Adams, Andre Iguodala.
Yeah.
That was
So,
practice.
yeah.
That was practice. Andre come out there 6, got them Mims. That was the first time I'm
Channing
looking.
Frye.
Channing Frye. You know what I'm saying? We had dudes there.
Yeah.
Went to the lead. Should have went to the Final Four.
Yeah.
And like I said, these kids, they go to a school, and if they not playing right away, they bounce. And what I see,
hold on. Let me back up. Let's back up. This is you on here. We go on there now. Again, in the 2004 class in the country, it was a really good class. We're talking Dwight Howard, Josh Smith,
Sean
Livingston, Sebastian Telfair with you?
Sebastian, LaMarcus Aldridge, Al Jefferson,
JR. Like we talking about like
Gibb.
Maybe as far as guys from high school going to the league, maybe the all-time best class, maybe. Well, like
maybe that 07 something. It's
but when I talk about like the sheer number, because we talking about J.R. Smith, Dwight Howard,
Rondo.
No, I'm talking when should league out of high school.
J.R. Smith, Josh Smith,
Darrell Wright, and Dwight Howard. That's 4 guys.
Robert Swift.
So like, so again, incredible class, and we got a guy here in Houston, 2 guys from Houston, but particularly one who goes to a loaded team in Arizona and is willing to sit because he knows those guys in front of him can really play. Not that he can't play, but those guys in front of him already, they've been there, they're experienced. And this man talking about redshirting. Today, you got kids who go into schools as freshmen. They're not even top 100 in the country.
Thinking they supposed to start.
If they don't play 12 minutes, 15 minutes a game, they talking about leaving. And so for me, again, in my space as an evaluator, I'm like, dog, especially with this transfer portal shit. Like, do you guys think as high school players you can come in right away and get on somebody's college campus and college program and get minutes? It's a different fucking world, man. And now, and back then, when we were in college, if you transfer, you got to sit out a year. So it was different. Now with this portal, you can transfer in conference and don't sit, obviously. So, and plus COVID. So you got guys on some of these teams who are 24 years old. They're adults. They have children.
I mean, what's the quarterback at Georgia? He's 26.
Yo, dude from at Memphis from Houston, DeAndre Williams, he's 27 years old.
He coached against him. Remember, he played with Marlon.
Yeah, he's 27 years old.
Yeah.
So as a 17-year-old, there's no way you can come in and say, oh, yeah, I'm going to get his spot. You're not going to get his spot.
I think it's just being like realist, man. Like, I wanted to start in high school. I wanted to. I feel like I deserved to start. And like I said, I appreciate Coach Dub, Coach Honey, and them telling me that because, like, I always had those thoughts in my head, but I always wanted, like, the number one thing I enjoyed the most was winning. So as long as we was winning, I ain't tripped. I got my minutes, and I was cool with that. But every day in practice, I was competing with Jawan. And I'm like, it would be days I'd be like, I get the better of him. I'd be like, man, maybe I could start. But I'm like, no, bro, like this is a McDonald's All-American. This dude, 6'5", got 30 more pounds on me, can jump.
It's a true story, man.
I don't, like, if I want to start, I got to be that person every day. And I feel like if you ain't, like, if you're not committed to that or you're not looking at it through a, like looking at yourself in the mirror, then, yeah, you're going to tell yourself, like, blind thoughts.
I'm going to give y'all an example with Larry Posey. He played with my brother. So I saw him a lot when he was young. Right, and I was like, damn, this dude Posey inside is a monster. Yeah. So then as he goes to high school, I'm a senior, he's a freshman. I'm kind of paying attention. And then when I'm at college, I'm like, damn, Posey's still killing. And as dominant as he went to UTA, which is in this, I think y'all in the Southland or WAC, Posey? Southland Conference. And again, you think somebody as dominant as Posey's going to the Southland. People are like, oh man, he should be going to Mint. He should, but like at the end of the day, like you got to understand, dog. Like it's levels to this, and nowadays it's kids. I promise y'all, dog. They don't even have the nearly the resume of a Larry Posey, and they thinking they can go play at. Oh, he can go play in the Southland on the WAC. I'm like,
the funny part when you say that about Posey is we used to call him. That's why I say that 99 team, we got to give them the flowers because if it wasn't for their failures, we wouldn't have won. That's what I'm saying. They used to tell us to do the right. I'm serious. I can't make this up. They used to be on us. You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
To do the opposite
as they should.
They did. You know what I mean?
And not only that, man, we used to be in the gym and they used to be in the gym with us.
Yeah.
So we played them every day after school.
People don't know
like,
that.
I'm talking about open gym. We playing against Roy Smallwood, Truscott, Alton Ford coming in there, Myron Allen. Like we playing against them.
And
like
this
from
was
the ninth.
And this was when Myron
was Myron.
Hey,
yeah.
And
You know,
and
they was
Montreal.
Montreal was fast as all. Montreal. We had a team that mirrored them. That's what I'm saying. Trail.
Yeah.
Shorter, but baby Ford. We used to call them baby Ford. That's why I say they were so good, you know what I mean, and long and tall. And then we had an 02 team that kind of stayed on our bus too with Jason Langelier and that whole group. But back to Posey, we kids, you know, you have to have some adults to be honest with these kids.
100%.
Posey and he can tell the story. His daddy came to my dad. Posey didn't want to commit to UTA yet because he was dominating. Mm-hmm. My daddy had to tell him, "You 6'5", playing power forward.
Yeah.
It's people in there 6'9", 6'10".
Yeah.
Doing
the same
thing you doing.
Yeah.
Posey didn't committed probably like when we I mean, it's not. I mean, because he's not trying to tell him, you know, I don't want you to play at that level.
Yeah,
it's
just give him the real. Give him the real.
But see, when you say you being humble, these kids don't know you can go be successful playing a role. See, people don't know you led the Big 12 in rebounds.
Right. Yeah.
They looking at, man, Sloan, he didn't average 20 or whatever.
Yeah, correct.
But they not on the court.
Right.
Everybody can't shoot the ball.
No, they can't.
As much as you give me, or much as they give me my flowers, when my knees went out my sophomore year, I had to find a role,
figure it out,
to stay on the court because my confidence and ego would still tell me I was that dude. But when I would go to bed at night, I knew I was not that dude no more. You know what I'm saying? We had Chase Budinger, Jerry, Jordan Hill. And when I would come to practice, I'd be like, dude, I know I was better than this dude, but I'm not that dude anymore.
And Jawan, speak on that. So for your mentality, playing against your college teammates who are pros, and Mickey, you one of the top 25 players in the country too. Mm-hmm. At what point for you mentally were you like, yo, like, in order for me to play, I gotta find a role and accept it. On top of the fact you losing your role model, your idol, and your knees going out on you all like within the same year and a half, couple years. Like mentally for you, how did you stay locked in like to basketball and be like, yo, let me focus, let me get this degree, let me keep playing.
Well, if we gonna keep it 100. I mean, it was a bunch going on off the court. I don't even know if these dudes really understand what was going on outside of my pops. See, during that time, I called him right after the Illinois game when we lost. And I was on the phone with him, and I was talking to him. I was about to declare for the draft. This is real talk. I was going to declare for the draft. Could have left. You know what I mean? Probably been a second round pick. Then me and my pops talked. So we driving back. He come to Arizona. We drive back. We say, well, we'll talk about it when we get back. Coach Olsen was supposed to meet us down there. I go to a party that night. I go to a party that night. I don't know if you heard the story. I've told the story maybe once or twice. I go to a party that night. Me and my pops, we talk about it. You know what I'm saying? I fly back. We talk about it. I get back to Tucson. If I could make this up, I would. These dudes don't even know. I get back to the airport. I'm in cuffs. You feel me? Handcuffs. Put it back in the police car. I don't know what's going on.
So you get off the plane, they cuff you?
The plane. They're waiting on me at the airport, baggage claim. Two officers say, walk with me to the car. We got to ask you some questions. Yeah. So I don't know who they talked to. Coach knew that I was coming back, whatever. My mind is made up that I'm declaring for the draft. Yeah. I'm a forego. I'm not going to come back. right? Because we had a good year, and even though I only averaged like 6 points,
Your freshman year?
My freshman year I only averaged like 6, but I had a really good last 10 games, right? And so we get back, they tell me, hey, you been detained for rape, right? Like I told you, I went to a party that night before.
Yeah.
If she walked in here right now,
you wouldn't even know.
These young dudes need to hear this. You know what I'm saying? We all been to college. You know what I'm saying? We ain't gonna get on here and talk about, that. But come to find out, I think Facebook came out our freshman year of college, right?
Yes, it did. Yep.
Came out 2005, 2004, something like that.
It sure did.
Well, once they did the investigation and all that, they asked the girl, she was a fan of mine, right? Now, this is going on and so I had to call and tell my pops. Actually, I'm lying. Let me pick it back. I didn't tell him. I couldn't tell him. I'm at a pool party. Josh Pashner calls me. He said, did you tell your dad? I'm like, yeah, I told my dad, boom, 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 pow. He knew I didn't tell my dad because I'm too, jittery. You know what I'm saying? He calls my pops. He tells him, my pops called me. I never forget. And that, was a bunch of off the court stuff going on with me that I haven't told them this. When I got back with my pops, you know how we all parents, I think the most disappointing thing, we can whoop our kids and discipline them and stuff like that, but the most disappointing thing is when your parent tell you that they disappointed.
Yes.
Right? So my pop sat me at the table and he just told me he was crying. I've never seen my daddy cry a day in my life. He said, I'm disappointed. I know you didn't do it, but I told you don't be in the room by yourself or somewhere with that. Right? Fast forward. Coach Duffy, he gave me the call. So when my dad died, that whole time during when I went back to school, I became academically ineligible, right? Academically ineligible.
So how far apart was you getting cuffed for that and your dad passing away?
That's a week.
Oh, wow.
Man.
That's a week. So they said he died from a brain aneurysm, single car crash. So in my mind, I was the fault of that. So I'm carrying that. You see what I'm saying? For 2-3 years. Nobody knows that. So when people say, oh, man, J-Mac down there, I never said a word, right? I remember I get a call, girlfriend at the time, she gets mad because she sees I'm coming on ESPN, I'm acting in else, but people don't even know the story behind it. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're supposed to have 24 hours when you go in the fall, but you can have 18 pass by the end of the 2 semesters, right? So I had my 18. Well, my mom's here. I decided not to go back to summer school. I knew I had to. Coach Olsen called me and said, we'll appeal it. Don't worry about it. We appeal it. I don't win it. You know what I'm saying? At that time, that's when I didn't know the NCAA had the power. I'm thinking like, these dudes gonna let me play. You know what I'm saying? But now, can I declare for the draft? Because all that's going to come out. This is during that time, Sloan. All that's going to come out. So if I don't want it to come out,
you got to go back to school.
I got to go back to school. I go back to school, we practicing. I'm 230. I'm just lifting. That's all I'm doing, stressed out. Lift. He'll tell you we came back to open gym. Him right here, he's like, damn, you done got fat. He was at open gym. My mind wasn't even on basketball, but we was at open gym, but I needed to play. I just wanted to hoop. But I wasn't, I'm talking about I'm just eating, lifting, and basketball was not on my mind, right? So that year, I think we had practice one day. I never did anything to my knee. I went to bed and woke up and both of my knees were swollen, like balloons. So they go do the surgery, clean it out. They say I got a big hole in my knee, right? I don't know what it's from. You know what I'm saying? So when I got the surgery, when I came back, I feel like I could boom, boom, boom. They want to do another surgery. That's why I tell kids go get a second opinion. You know what I'm saying? Because these schools, they are in the betterment of the school. They not in the betterment of you. You know what I'm saying? Because they just want you to get back out there. But long story short, I mean, once I had that surgery, I kind of knew I wasn't the same player because you could just feel it. So it was frustrating. You know what I'm saying? And I was trying to they'll know my first step was my biggest asset. I wasn't I didn't do all that. I make a move, go. I didn't have it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You know as a player when you just ain't got it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It was frustrating, and then they gonna laugh because I had to turn into these two. I had to be a defender.
Yeah.
I ain't never did. That's something I never did.
Hey, then we
You
played.
know
We
what
played
I'm
in
saying?
what tournament we played in? Did we all play in that same tournament? It was a high school alumni.
Yes. Yep.
Remember that
Yep.
high school alumni tournament we played in?
Yeah.
You played one day, and the
One
next
day.
day you couldn't play because your
Couldn't
damn
play.
knees was sore.
Couldn't play. You know what I'm saying? But they only needed me for the one game. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
We need you for the next day.
Then we played them.
We played Sloan in them. You don't remember that, bro? It was a high school alumni.
Oh yeah. Well, yeah.
But we beat y'all though. You had old crazy. I forgot.
Floyd.
Floyd. That's my. That's
Oh,
my
yeah.
man.
Yeah.
Floyd was dominating, but
Yeah.
Floyd quiet.
Yeah,
It was
yeah.
another dude y'all had. Street dude. He
He said, my knees swollen.
my knees swollen like balloons.
That's crazy.
But I just
Yeah.
tried to play with that. That's what I'm
Right.
saying. That's why I don't come to no open gym. I can't do that, man. I
Yeah.
get to court, somebody get to.
Talking.
I'm gonna think I'm that dude again.
Yeah.
And I gotta go to work. You know what I'm saying? I can't do that. Yeah, I can't do that. But it was tough. It was tough.
Fellas, man. Usually how we end the show, I'm gonna ask this so many of y'all. I'm gonna do 3. I'm gonna ask y'all the best player you played, the 3 best players you played against, and the 3 best players you played with.
Think about that.
We doing high school?
Your pro, high school, college, the 3 best players you played with, and the 3 best players you played against.
I go first.
Okay.
David Devison, he was tough.
Playing against, right?
Yeah.
Okay, you going against first. Okay.
AJ Abrams, tough.
What'd you play against AJ Abrams? AJ Abrams.
AAU.
AAU. Okay.
That was
Okay.
tough. Oh man, Tack Minor. Every district game.
Trying to
2
get Tack on the show, man, for next week. Tic Tac gotta holler at me. Gotta make that work. Okay. 3 best you play with.
Number 1 got to be Juwan.
Okay.
Got to be Juwan. He was only a left-footed jumper, but he was.
Yeah.
Number 2, man. Ooh, man. There's so many good guys, man. Posey got to be number 2.
Okay.
Number 3, man, got to be my brother, man. He's probably the best shooter I know, man. Yeah, my brother Milton, 03 Milby.
You ready, Posey? 3 best you played against.
3 best I played against. We're gonna go with Durant.
I was at the. I was not at the game. That was the next year. Okay.
Yeah, I couldn't do nothing with it.
Yeah.
It just turn around.
What Durant? Kevin Durant?
Yeah.
Say his whole name. Durant.
We gonna go. I don't know who this guy is or whatever. We gonna go get Skip Biz. It's a little joke that we got going around. But Skip Biz, my senior year. I don't. If somebody can recall this dude's name, but was the only guy that gave me
What
trouble.
school?
We was in Corpus, man. What was we in? I don't remember. What were we in Corpus with? Man, we talk about Skip Biz all the time. Y'all know where he's from.
I don't know.
Okay, who's your 3rd?
And the 3rd, we're gonna go with playing against. I was a dog, man.
College, high school.
You gotta say Derrick Rose.
Yeah, but I didn't guard him.
No. Not having to guard. Just who you played against.
Oh, we're gonna put Rose in that.
Okay. Okay.
that was Memphis. That was actually the first time UTA went to the NCAA tournament. I helped them get there.
Oh, it's big.
And we called Memphis. We called Memphis in that
First round.
first half.
That's the year they won it, or got the championship game against Kansas. Was that not that year?
No.
Okay. Okay.
That was first half. We was with them. We ended up losing by probably about 20.
Okay.
Derrick Rose had a quiet 36.
So, Chris, what about you?
It's easy.
Top 3 players I played against was off the top of my head, I say Jason Horton from Cedar Hill. I know Cedar Valley, right?
No, Cedar Hill.
Cedar Hill, my fault.
yeah.
Cedar Hill. Played against. It was this dude I played against in college, man. He had like a short forearm, but like he could ball though, bro. He was All-American in our conference when I was in Alaska. Can't remember his name. I think it was Dykstra or something like that, bro. But as a kid, Like I guess he got his arm stuck in like the lawnmower, and then they had to do a surgery, and so his short end was short, bro. But he was nice, bro. He was nice. You know how they got the one kid right now with the one arm, bro. You be looking at him how can you not stop him? I played against a player like that, bro. The dude was nice. When it's your disability, I guess you know how to go through it. And then third, who I played against, man, what was the white boy from Clear Lake that Leon gave them problems to? Ryan Wright. Mr. Fundamental. I used to. He went to Deer Park. Hey man, that boy, I never had to hold him because he was a 4 or 5, but I used to feel bad for them. Yeah. Really, Leon probably still had nightmares about Ryan. And yeah, I was like, we played Deer Park. That ain't my problem today. Playing with, obviously my brother Jawan, playing with him. One of my teammates in Alaska by the name of Brad Olson. He played in Spain. I
remember him actually. Yeah,
he was like real nice.
Yep.
And then playing with, I give it to my brother Tavon, man. We done played in a lot of games together. We done played some 2-on-2s for basketball, for money, for cash. You know, a lot of street ball, a lot of 35 and up leagues. So I say that's.
I'm the only one still getting.
Hey, yeah, Tavon probably the nicest one in this room. He's still he the new Mickey D's All American. It ain't Jawan bad in the ass.
Catch me at your 35 and ups.
Yeah, that's my 3.
Tavon, you up? 3 best you played against?
Man, I'm gonna go Horton.
Okay.
I'm gonna go Bright, Ryan.
Okay.
And who I'm gonna go with next? I'm gonna go D Gill. Man, I gotta keep it Houston.
Okay.
I got to go D Gill, man. Cause I was watching that boy when we was the same age, 8th grade.
Yeah.
He was a man at 8.
Yeah. No, it's funny because Ralph Cooper had a tournament of the stars and Shotwell played against them. I don't know if y'all played them in the 7th or 8th grade at TSU actually. Yeah, it was like I remember that vividly. My dad was saying, "Hey man, they got a kid at Dowling Middle School was a problem, a little guard, ended up being D Gibb.
I think I actually won that tournament right there.
Tournament of Stars. I mean, yeah.
Thomas.
Oh yes, they did always. Yeah.
We played.
They had a hell of a
played
coach.
Cullen in the championship.
Okay.
At TSU.
Okay. Yep. All right, Jay, you up last. 3 played.
I got to do it in sections.
Okay.
I mean, I got to do it.
This nigga about to say LeBron James.
College. I mean,
10
LeBron's on my list, but
Yeah.
I got to keep it here because it's too easy for me to say, you know, all the pro players.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
So, because
You saw LeBron where Nike camp?
Nike camp,
Okay.
ABCD when he
Oh,
gave Lenny Cook
okay.
that year.
Oh,
that
you was
the
there.
fir-
You were there. I didn't know that. Okay.
I was a youngster there.
Okay.
So I don't want to do that.
Okay.
Because this is Houston based,
Yep.
right? So for me, I got to go Tack.
Okay. Yep.
He was the toughest because his attitude,
Yep.
pit bull.
Yep.
You know, he was fast, strong. For me, Gibb.
Mm-hmm.
Me and him been battling. I mean, since 6th, 7th grade.
Yep.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Man, God, Lord. This tough, man. Because I just got to give all these dudes flowers. You know what I'm saying? There's so many dudes. I'm just gonna keep it in. I'm just gonna keep it in my 4 years.
Okay. Yep.
Because I want to keep it in context. Those two, man. God, that I personally had to guard.
No. Not had to go. Just who you played against.
Man, I got to get about 10. I mean, you talking about Hurt?
Okay. Los.
Who to me is one of the
all time.
in my all time. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Carlos Hurt.
With Gibb,
Okay.
PJ.
Okay. PJ Kuzma.
Yep. Tack. I mean, the dudes that I played with and against.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But Cartier. I mean, I can go Cartier Martin.
Yep.
Played in the league for a long time.
He did.
You know, I hear people's lists all the time. Of, I know we going off top, but I hear people's list, top point guard, top this, boom, 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 boom. You can go so many ways with it. right? I didn't play against him, but when he came, I remember seeing Tommy as a 7th grader. You know,
Tommy Mason Griffin.
He was one of the, because he had the hood behind him. See, that's what we didn't have at Milby.
And I was dang, I meant to ask y'all that. It was in my mind.
If we would have did,
It wasn't no hood.
It wasn't no hood.
if we would have did what we did
We had
at a
Mexican
Willow
brown
Ridge
stuff.
or Yates or
Yeah.
one of those historic Eisenhower,
It would have been different for you.
Oh man, because we don't get that love like that. Like when you talk about the undefeated teams,
Yeah.
we kind of get lost in the sauce a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Well,
Because-
see, and it's funny you say that because I always think about. I'm like, yo, they went 39-0, and obviously the Willow Ridge is the example. They lost the one game in 2 years. Then last year they went undefeated. But like for me, obviously I'm a part of the culture, but you can't talk about undefeated teams and not talk about the Milby. I mean, it went 39-0. And so, but hearing you say that like y'all didn't get the same love like Yates got in the hood, it was different. So was that like a basketball program only thing, or was that like a city of Houston thing, but not a?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I think we didn't get the love because Honey rubbed a lot of people the wrong way. Just being real, because he was stealing a lot of African American kids to come over to Milby to play
From other schools.
And you got the coaches like Fred Smith and a lot of these guys that were real ticked off at him. You know what I mean? But at the end of the day, the parents make the decisions.
Correct.
We don't run. We didn't run nothing. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
My pops, like I told you, y'all thought it was Jason. He said, "No, sir."
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
These are your options. Boom, boom, pow.
Yeah.
And I was just like, man, I ain't going to Westbury Christian. I'm not going to private school. I'm not doing that. I'm tired
And they
of
had a
wearing
good
uniform.
run too.
They had
Like,
to
I mean,
Coach
yeah, if you'd
Glenn
have been
and all
with that,
that.
yeah, that would have been.
Me and Indy, we would have Stanley Asumnu, Andy Akilcore, Chris Rhodes.
Absolutely.
All
It
them
would've been
dudes.
loaded,
That's why I
yeah.
say when you say play against, for me, I used to look up to D. Ewing, and he knows this, so I'm not telling him. He didn't even know this. So I used to look up to him. Gib used to look up to TJ.
Right.
So I think that's how we became who we were.
Yeah,
You have to
yeah.
have somebody to look up to.
The lineage,
right?
yeah.
I didn't even know in the backyard, I had the luxury of having Rob Williams, George Walker Sr., oh man, I can't Carl Godin from Cashville.
Yep.
These are dudes that I didn't know what they did. They were just cool with my pops.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah.
So then I met Sean. Sean Gay used to ref me in middle school.
Yeah.
He was on the undefeated team at Madison.
He was, yep.
I never even knew this because Sean Gay was like
Yeah.
300 pounds
Yeah.
reffing.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So I got to experience some things where I can kind of say this because I understand who came before me.
That's so
You know what I'm
important,
saying?
man. It's so
and that's
important.
why I don't like doing lists because
Yeah.
you're gonna leave somebody out. Like
Right.
I always pay homage when people ask who the greatest player to come out of Milby. For me, it's Rob is
Williams, yeah.
I don't even think. I mean, I love Alton.
Correct.
I love
Yeah,
myself.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean,
Rob Williams.
when he was averaging 27, 28 with no 3-point line.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But he was shooting threes.
Yeah.
So it
Yeah.
ain't like he was averaging 27 and he getting to the bag. He's
Yeah,
shooting
shooting.
threes and leading the city in assists.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah,
And,
yeah.
You got Hurt. You got TJ. You got Gibb. You know what I'm saying? You got George Williams that was at Elkins. Your time.
99. Yeah.
You know, y'all team, the superstars. Matter of fact, you don't want to say it, but we were y'all baby team. We were in the 8th grade. B. Gibb, George Walker, Mike Nichols, all of us. We wanted to be just like y'all. You already had a pipeline coming.
You did, actually.
Right?
Yeah.
You had Lanny Smith, who a lot of people I think don't give credit to.
For sure.
He's a true, that's why I say you got to put Lanny and TJ and Nick,
Yeah.
and those guys go in a category.
Different. Yep. Right.
Tack and
Yep.
Tommy and Gill
Another
go in
category.
another
Correct,
category. De'Aaron
yeah.
Fox, they go
Yeah.
in that category where they can get them involved, but then if
Yeah.
they got to go get 30,
They will.
they'll go
Yeah,
get 30.
yeah,
Right?
absolutely.
Then you got
They were the high
because they
teams
was
very
resilient,
good.
but they was resilient because of their coach.
Right. Yeah.
That's why Yates did. They
What
had
they
a
did,
coach. Think
yeah.
about it. If you had a coach that put them in 2-3 zone, they wouldn't have been that team.
Absolutely.
So it still
Yeah.
comes down to the coach. Love Coach Honey. I don't know if he was coach. Like you said, that was a tough decision not to start him.
Yeah.
But they had to bring him. We didn't understand it,
Yeah.
but they had to bring him off the bench because he was gonna take shots away from me, just being real. So he had to come in and get his shots.
Yeah.
Right? We didn't understand it. We thought coach was tripping.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
That's why I say you gotta have a dude at the helm too. But it's a lot of dudes that's came out. It's hard for me to say.
Yeah.
David Davidson was a bad guy.
Yeah.
You were a bad dude.
Yeah.
You had Alton, obviously. Truscott, Roy. I mean, Roy had Duke and stuff before he tore his knee.
Yeah, he did. Yeah.
And he come back the year after he tore his knee and make all Grady Houston.
Yeah, he did.
You know what I'm saying?
First team. Yeah.
You got Antonio Nuttall as a freshman, right?
Yeah.
As a freshman that makes third team. Jermichael Miller,
Lars
Roberts.
Yeah. So many guys. Yeah. John Lucas
III. I mean, you're talking about from 2000 to, you're talking about 4 or 5 years.
Yeah. It was loaded, man.
That was loaded. Rashard Lewis started it.
Yeah, 98. Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Didn't start, Rob, but I'm talking about the trend where we were just going.
No, it was a time
I
in
give
Houston.
TJ his flowers. I knew nothing about UT basketball. When he went,
you knew.
Everybody wanted to go.
Absolutely.
Right?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Like I said, Carter, Blake.
Yeah. Blake Adams.
There's a lot of dudes
guys,
that came
man,
out of Houston.
for sure.
Like
for
I'm
sure.
thinking about it now because you think about New York,
Chicago,
Washington D.C., Baltimore, sure. But we had a lot of dudes that were pros.
Nah, man,
and we
that's
ain't
what I
talking
said.
about the Ronnie Prices and all those dudes who were in high school
below the radar.
Were good, but I'm talking about got 10-year careers in the league and stuff. I mean, we had a bunch of dudes.
And that's why I said that kind of when we started the show, man. Like you guys, the group, the 04, it was like the explosion in the city of Houston. And it's like right in the epicenter, we got a group who won the top 2, top 3 teams, number 1 public school in the country, with the McDonald's All-American, undefeated, won the state championship. And it's like from there, Houston just really we had a run for at least another 8-9 years where we really couldn't be touched. And again, man, I'm going to thank you guys for joining the show. Again, we appreciate what you guys what you mean to the culture, what you brought to the culture. Sloan Cold Facts, the first episode 2023. We thank y'all, man.
Appreciate it, bro.
Yes, sir.